We are a community union, not specifically for renters, but a lot of our work has focused on tenants' rights because that's what's come up most for the people we working with. So internationally speaking, ACORN was founded in the US in the 1970 as a collective of community organisations that advocated for low and middle income households and campaigned around issues such as affordable housing, neighbourhood safety and healthcare, as well as organising huge voter registration drives in poorer communities. At its peak, ACORN had 500,000 members across 100 cities in the US. Over in the UK, ACORN was founded here in 2014 when three friends trained in community organising started knocking on doors to speak to people about the issues in their neighbourhoods. They called a community meeting, which was attended by about 100 people. And the number one issue raised at that meeting by some way was tenants' rights and the poor deal renters were getting across the city. So after a couple of months of knocking on doors and signing up members, we developed an ethical lettings charter. And this is when I started getting involved in ACORN. We had a Halloween horror housing protest when we ran around dressed in fancy dress to a load of estate agents around the city. And it was really great fun. I thought, wow, this is activism that is really positive, really fun, really like inclusive. It was just a really breath of fresh air. So the Ethical Lettings Charter was, through our lobbying, endorsed by the Mayor and adopted by the City Council and some housing associations, letting agents and landlords. We also started taking direct action against slum landlords who were mistreating their tenants or failing to live up to their obligations and responsibilities. So we've built on these humble beginnings to massively expand our scope and the geographical areas in which we work as well. So as a community union, we're a member-led organisation of mainly low-income people with members paying dues of 1 hour's wage per month. We grow the union by knocking on doors, speaking to people about their concerns, and by publicising and celebrating our wins. We build power in our communities by carrying out effective, well-organised and creative collective action against those who traditionally hold the power, whether that's landlords, businesses, local authorities or politicians. We're growing rapidly and we've now got over 1,000 members in Bristol alone, with branches and groups in 22 towns and cities in the UK, which in 6 years is like such amazing growth. We're so proud of what we've achieved in that regard. And we achieve countless wins, both locally and nationally. So we get direct results for our members, such as halting evictions, getting repairs done, getting compensation from landlords paid out, as well as securing emergency accommodation for survivors and other vulnerable people when they've otherwise been refused. On a campaign level, we've stopped the cutting of council tax benefit in Bristol, made banks drop mortgage clauses discriminating against benefit claimants, and been a key voice in the campaign to ban agency fees and end Section 21 evictions. There's loads more. Have a look at our website. There's tons of things, and not all of them about renting. We've stopped like power stations being built by schools and all kinds of things. So personally, I was elected in January as co-chair to the Bristol branch, having been involved for a few years. And I was there ready to organise to take buses under public control and campaign against developers not putting in affordable housing. And then boom, coronavirus hit. And everything we were doing was just turned on its head. So we had to adapt, and we adapted quickly. So across our branches throughout the country, we developed community support networks with an army of volunteers flyering neighbourhoods to offer assistance, and then delivering shopping and medication and providing social support to those vulnerable and shielding. In Bristol alone, we've assisted over 1,000 households, many of those on multiple occasions. Nationally, we also launched our Housing is Health campaign. So this campaign is based on the notion that safe and secure housing for all is the first protection against the spread of coronavirus. When staying at home is the best thing we can do to stop the spread of the virus, we think it's pretty damn important that everyone has a home to stay in. So the campaign has 6 demands. One is actually one the government have already promised but failed to deliver, which is a permanent end to no-fault Section 21 evictions. Outside of the ban times, it's Section 21 evictions are still the biggest cause of homelessness. So the government's still to deliver on that. Secondly, a rent waiver for the duration of the crisis. And this is really important. It means that any rent arrears accrued as a result of the crisis can't be expected or included in any future grounds for eviction. You know, you can keep kicking the can down the road and pushing the eviction ban back, but ultimately the arrears situation is going to be the same. We want a waiver of those arrears. 3, to scrap current evictions. So landlords should have to start the process for any paused evictions from scratch once the ban on court proceedings is lifted. 4, protect mortgage holders. So a government legislated mortgage and interest payments freeze during the crisis with protection from repossession. So not just renters, we also do lobby for homeowners as well. 5, equality for lodgers. This is really important. Protection against eviction, we think, has to be extended to lodgers. Lodgers basically have no legal protection. We were seeing, like, in the midst of the pandemic, the worst bit of it, NHS workers who are already enjoying an incredibly tough time at work, pushed to their limits, being made to leave their homes with no notice at all. Like, they need some sort of protection, particularly at this time, and a extension of the eviction ban. So we want that ban extended for as long as is needed to protect the public health from coronavirus. And September the 20th, in 10 days away, that is just not enough. You know, cases are rapidly rising again. It needs to be extended much further. So we've held 2 national days of action to publicise our campaign. Most recently, before the last eviction ban end date on August the 23rd, where 18 branches took to county courts where eviction warrants will be granted across the country to protest the end of the ban. So, given the end of the eviction ban is fast approaching, we're also now busy training community protection teams around the country. So these teams are mobilising to protect their neighbours from the COVID-19 crisis through direct action. And that's principally by resisting evictions. And that's whether illegal or legal. There's going to be a lot of illegal evictions, a lot of legal evictions. Either way, they're immoral and not in the interest of public health at this time, so we will be resisting all of them. So we're drawing not only from our membership, but from the large number of volunteers that made our coronavirus support network and from the mutual aid groups that have arisen throughout the pandemic. So our community support work was great. It was really fluffy. It was very nice. We were like delivering, you know, shopping, groceries to pensioners and stuff. And it was very fluffy compared to our usual sort of campaign work. But actually, it was great because it's given us a framework for our community protection teams as well. So the community protection training is taking place both in person and online. So it's going to be raising people's confidence, building knowledge of possession proceedings, and we're using role play to simulate the various scenarios that may happen during an attempted eviction. The eviction resistances themselves are going to be well organised, with alerts going out to local teams and with team members taking on a range of specified roles to ensure that we have the edge over landlords and bailiffs. We've already learned a great deal from previous eviction resistances, and we'll continue to build on each resistance to make sure the next one is even more successful. It's so amazing when you help your community members, your fellow community members, not get evicted. It's so rewarding for members. It's obviously hugely beneficial for the person you're protecting. So on Saturday, the 19th of September, we're going to be running community protection training in loads of towns and cities across the UK throughout the day. So we've got several sessions. So we're going to have simulated evictions taking place outside members' houses with the role play that I kind of mentioned before. So if you're around, you don't have to be a member, but if you're around, get in touch with your local ACORN branch and get involved and get trained up. Finally, last couple of things just to say is, please sign our Housing is Health petition. We'll share the link to our website on the end. So link to that. And also, if you want to be part of a union that effectively fights for its communities, wins for its members, and has a lot of fun doing it, then join ACORN. Thank you.
Imagine, demand, and build a world transformed.